Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Anime-chan. Today I'm going to be sharing my reaction highlights of episode 122 and 123 of One Piece, and then I will be sharing my notes at the end. Even for those of you that don't listen to my reviews, I highly suggest that you skip to the last couple of minutes of the video after watching the highlights, because there is something really cool that I want to share with you all. And yeah, I'm not gonna say much more than that right now. I want to get started with the reaction highlights and then the review part, because it is already 5 in the morning. And I don't know why the last 2 videos when I've been recording my reviews, I always end up doing it like really late. I hope you enjoy watching the highlights with me. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy.
砂ワニと水ルフィさあ立てクロコダイル攻撃を受ければ直径5キロ生き残れる者はいない。クロコダイルはそう言った。直径5キロそれじゃ国王軍も反乱軍も
攻撃を阻止するんだ。
攻撃士をでどうやって探すんだ。あと10分で
考えてる暇はねえだろ。
でもお前おそらく攻撃士はこの広場の近くにいるわ。
Probably like suicide bombers.
なんでだよ。そんなことしたらその砲撃仕事ドカーンと味方が死んでもいいのか。
食えねえ野郎だ。
Luffy, that is dangerous! Okay, episode 122, Sand, Crocodile, and Water Luffy. Deathmatch round 2. So, just a short note before I start reading my notes. At the time of starting my notes for episode 122, I have already watched episode 123 to 126. I watched 122 and 23 together on the 20th of September, and I watched episode 124 to 126 on the 24th of September. So all the full reactions are available on my Patreon, and right now it's the 28th of September, and tonight I actually watched episode 127 and 128. I know it sounds confusing, but that's why I literally have a schedule that looks like this. I have notes, and you know, I literally do things like this. I have my Annie list that keeps track of where I am with everything and my scores, so that I can watch different anime at different times and have different notes and be busy with the notes while I'm already there in the episodes and whatever. It seems confusing, but I have it under control, I swear. Okay, so this is just a screenshot of Zoro and Sanji. Although these two don't really get along, I absolutely love when they team up or work together. I think they make a great team. And even though their fighting styles are different, the actions complement each other nicely. It's just very cool to look at them fight together. Very exciting, and I hope we get to see more of it in the future. At this point, I think Zoro has surpassed Sanji in terms of strength, and I don't mean that at all in a way to provoke anyone to start arguing Sanji is stronger, Zoro is stronger. I honestly don't mean, I'm here to share my opinion on things, right? And at this point, I really think that I don't think we're going to see them fight together a lot, because when being like absolutely serious, I think Zoro will be stronger than Sanji, because as people have said, Sanji is a brilliant cook that can also fight, but Zoro is first and foremost a swordsman. His dream is to be the #1 swordsman. If he's not stronger than Sanji, I don't think he's achieving that dream. And that's why I hope we get to see more of them fighting together in the future, but I just don't see it happening in this sense. They were fighting a bunch of Baroque Works agents and just literally in 2 seconds smashing through them all. So in that sense, their difference in strength doesn't really matter, but going full out, does this make sense? I'm rambling, but I'm just scared that I'm gonna offend anyone by saying what I think here. Let's just leave it at they look cool while fighting side by side. Okay, moving on. Crocodile. There's a fundamental difference between you and I that you cannot overcome. That is the level of the Shichibukai. What he says here is very interesting, considering episode 126 is titled, I Will Surpass You, which is what Luffy says to Crocodile shortly before defeating him. Crocodile thinks since he's classified as a Shichibukai, that automatically makes him above Luffy. That's a strange way of thinking, in my opinion, and it's kind of like blindly cocky, like you're setting yourself up for failure. Just because you are considered something does not mean you are objectively stronger or better than someone without that title. I know quite a few people, for example, who went to art school and now have degrees in art and work in a professional environment, so they're good artists, and professional, so they have the official label as artists, they have a degree and whatnot, a real job making money as an artist. Like Crocodile has the label Shichibukai, and now he's saying that's the difference between the two of them. I guess what I'm trying to say is it just seemed interesting to me that even someone as intelligent as Crocodile in the end underestimated Luffy because of his reasoning being, I'm a Shichibukai and you're not, I'm stronger. Oh, I actually wrote it down here. I am stronger than this lowly wannabe pirate king because I am part of the Shichibukai and he is not. Like, I don't know. Here we see a water Luffy in his natural habitat. I love how creative Luffy can get with his Gomu Gomu powers, and he's not afraid to look silly. I don't know if that makes sense. So many MCs of various shows are really focused on being cool. Not the character themselves, like the character isn't focused on being cool, but it's like the creator wants the MC to be cool. Their moves and their design, because maybe it's a way of appealing to the viewers and making them like the character more. Luffy, however, is such a derpy character. Although he does have cool and badass moments, I just think it's really unique and entertaining that the literal main character of the show is like he does things like this. He's kind of an idiot, and he's a rubber man. He literally stretches and does these weird moves. It's not all about, like, one would expect a character like Zoro to be the MC, but Luffy is the MC. Like, I just love that. As much as Zoro is my favorite character, but I can say I love that Luffy is the MC. I think I said this in the reaction, but I love seeing a character like Crocodile lose his cool like this. From the very start, he's been so full of himself and always calm and calculating, laughing in everyone's face about how he is better than them and they have no chance at stopping his plan. It's just really great to see him. Sorry, that was a typo. It's just really great to see him get knocked off his high horse, to be honest. Although we know in this fight, Luffy ends up losing again. Like I mentioned at the start, I've already watched up to episode 126 at this point. But Luffy doesn't really lose because he doesn't quit. He gets up and goes to fight again, despite the odds being against him. It's that whole cliche thing about you don't lose, or wait, like how do you say that? You don't lose when you fail, you lose when you quit, you know? It's cliche, but it's true. In the end, his perseverance and conviction is the reason why he beat Crocodile in the end. He fought not for himself, but for the people he loves. The moves that Crocodile uses and how he uses it is insane though. I see myself looking unimpressed while he uses ground death, for example, in the reaction while I was editing, but it's not that I'm not impressed by it. It's just that it sucks that that kind of power is in his hands. So obviously if Sanji had the Suna fruit power and he used ground death and he used it to defeat an enemy, I'd be freaking out. But while seeing Crocodile use it, I was just sitting there like, and I while editing I thought, damn, you look so unimpressed, but this move is actually fucking insane. But it was Crocodile using it, and it sucks that he has that power. So I was like, I'm curious about how Robin got mixed up with Crocodile in the first place. Would she have joined him for no reason? What was she after? Or did he somehow force her? Like saying, join me, I want to find this poneglyph thing and you have to read it for me, otherwise I kill you. Like, is that the reason? Obviously, these are rhetorical questions. Do not answer or even hint about the reasons, please. Okay, King Cobra. 20 years ago, a girl by that name, Nico Robin, became infamous throughout the entire world. Why would she appear here and now? Yeah, that's what I want to know too. Then Robin replies, no, she doesn't reply. She said, when did she say this? I don't remember, but she said it. I hate anyone involved with the government. This, to me, has to be foreshadowing something. Like her origin story, like why does she hate the government so strongly? She was 8 years old when she, sunk 6 marine battleships? Who was using her? An 8-year-old girl doesn't just decide to do that. I don't know, I'm so curious about her. Okay, this moment is actually pretty great for Tashigi. Later in this episode, or the next one, when she started questioning justice and her concept of it, I started thinking, if she continues to develop in this general direction, I might actually be able to start liking her as a character. So looking back on this moment now while editing, I actually thought this specific scene is pretty awesome. I really like this. And like I said before, I watched episode 127 and 128 tonight, and by the end of 127, I actually put Tashigi on my like list, and I was like, she's made some great progress over this arc, or these last few episodes mostly, and I really respect her now that I see her thinking for herself, but actually I think I write more about it later. So I'm a little confused about Robin's moves, or rather the words she uses. Note, don't explain anything to me, my musings are purely rhetorical. I'm sure the anime will reveal more details with time. Even if it's something that's revealed in the SBS, I actually read the SBS. Actually, why do I always end up saying things? It's right there in my notes, let me just keep reading. Zoro's moves are said in Japanese, and he is a Japanese person. Her moves, however, seem to be a mix of Spanish and French. 30 fleur strangle, for example, is 30 flower strangle. I'm pretty sure the English doesn't count since Luffy uses English all the time in his moves. But Luffy doesn't use any Portuguese words when he calls out moves. He uses Japanese. And Usopp doesn't speak any African languages. Sanji, however, does use French words. So I guess it's not always consistent in terms of their nationalities. But the thing is, when they do use a different language, it's usually based on their nationality. Like, Zoro's moves are Japanese because he's a Japanese swordsman. Sanji's moves are French, and I think they're related, they're like cooking words. Collier, isn't that like, I don't know, but they're related to him in some way. With the Straw Hats, at least this is the case. Crocodile seems to use Spanish words, and Robin mixes Spanish and French. I wonder if this is also based on their nationality or their history in some way, like their origin. I asked my patrons if it would be spoilery to answer, and Arsalan said it might, and something about the SBS. Maybe details get revealed in it or something. Since I do read the SBS, although slowly, I'm currently on volume 19, I would prefer to read it rather than being told. Just like everything else, like I'd always prefer the anime to reveal it to me rather than myself. I mean, rather than someone telling me. So this is, I guess, Nico Robin's first and only wanted poster, because since she disappeared after this, her bounty probably didn't go up, right? Anyway, there was an incident where 6 Marine battleships were sunk. Battleships, so she specifically targeted Marine battleships. They said that a girl who was only 8 years old was responsible for it. That's what they said. But since the Marines, the higher ups, clearly don't mind covering things up, like, is that the truth? Because they wanted to, at the end of episode 128 or 27, they wanted to say, they didn't want to tell the truth about pirates defeating Crocodile. So did they blame a little girl, even though maybe it was something else? The government declared her a first-class threat, and the bounty put on her head was 79 million berry. However, she suddenly disappeared after that. So I'm assuming her bounty isn't more than 79 million at this point, because she disappeared, so she couldn't do anything to accumulate more. But now we're just wondering, from the age of 8, and I think 20 years passed. Yeah, 20 years ago. So she's 28 now. She's like the oldest Straw Hat then, because I know she joins the Straw Hats. You guys know that I've talked about it already. So since she's joined 28, that's quite old for an anime character, especially a main character. So the question now is, what happened at that time? Why did she sink those 6 battleships? And what happened from then till now? I'm super curious about it. And why does she hate the government? Was she taught to hate them? Did they do something to her? It's been shown many times before that the government isn't all, they're not all bad, but they're not all good either. So they're pretty corrupt. Episode 123, Smells Like Croc. Run to the tomb of the royal family, Luffy. I wonder if Luffy expected Crocodile to dodge his water attack. Like he had before, Crocodile, has been dodging his water attacks. And therefore, maybe Luffy knew if he was sucked dry, that water would be his only chance at surviving, the water he spat out. Shot out? I think this is very possible because Luffy has shown to be very smart when it comes to battles, learning from what doesn't work and thereby adapting to the situation. He had seen Crocodile dodge his attacks up to this point. He's kept dodging them, some of them, not all of them, or suck up his water attacks. So he knew probably either his water attack was going to hit Crocodile because Crocodile's hands was on his neck, so he couldn't so either his attack was going to hit him or it was going to miss him. And if it misses him, most likely, since he had dodged it a couple of times by now, since Crocodile was expecting it, Crocodile's also a good fighter, so he knew, for example, that Luffy planned to throw that barrel, so it was quite obvious that he could dodge it. So maybe he planned, if Crocodile dodges this, it's going straight up, so then if he sucks me dry, that water is going to be my best chance at surviving. If that's the case, and I think it might be the case, because Luffy's not, at least when it comes to fighting, he's not that dumb. So yay, go Luffy. Random unanswered question. Why can Robin read the text on the poneglyph when even the king of Arabasta can't? That is quite a big question. The king of the country cannot read that text, but she can. Once again, has to have something to do with her past. The king says the royal family's only responsibility was to protect the poneglyph, to which Robin replies, "Protect it, don't make me laugh." Why is that so hard for her to believe? Why does she dislike the government or authority? Because Cobra is part of the world government by being a king, right? So clearly she says, "Protect it, don't make me laugh," because she doesn't trust the government or anyone associated with it. She thinks badly of them, it seems. So what is the reason behind it? Also, she rarely shows a lot of emotions. Up to this point, she seemed pretty disinterested in whatever was going on around her and just carried out Crocodile's orders. I only remember her seeming slightly interested in Luffy and his ability to persevere, like he actually landed a hit on Crocodile and made him lose his cool. So I remember her kind of acknowledging that, but she seemed pretty excited to find the poneglyph when she walked in and saw it. Like her face kind of lit up. Was she also looking for it all this time? If so, why? I'm sure her reason is different than Crocodile's reason. Did she tell him the truth about what was written on the poneglyph? Like, maybe there was something she wanted to know and didn't want to share with him? Maybe she wants to know about Pluton? But why did she lie about it? Once again, all the Straw Hats made me laugh so much with their funny interactions and just their natural quirkiness. Usopp doing his Crocodile impression, Sanji going through the buildings, oh my gosh, and the way he came to a halt while running. He was like literally running at full speed and then suddenly his legs just went like this and he like comes to a halt. That was so funny. I think these are the kinds of things that one can only fully appreciate in an anime. Of course, the manga has its own charm and, in my opinion, is always superior to the anime in terms of the story and its development and pacing and stuff. But the sound effects, voice acting, and the motion of the characters, well, only the anime can really bring it to life for me. And also, about these character interactions and their quirks and stuff and what they do. Someone tonight, I think it was JT, asked me about, we were talking about pacing of another anime, and someone was saying that anime's pacing is too slow for them, and I was like, oh my god, if you think that's slow, how do you even watch One Piece? Because that person watches One Piece. Because I know like the pacing of One Piece is a lot slower than that anime. And then JT asked, on that note, how do you feel about the One Piece pacing, since most people, if they don't like One Piece, it's usually because of the pacing. And I say that the pacing doesn't bother me at all. Like I haven't once, well, no, I'm lying. 1 or 2 times, I think the one time was during Nami's fight with Miss Doublefinger, I did feel like, okay, this is being stretched out a bit too much for me now. But it wasn't a big issue for me. It was just like, there was a moment where I felt like, can we just move things along now? But other than that, the pacing has not once, like I've never felt like, except for that one moment, it should go faster than this, or oh my god, this is so slow. Because the other things happening, the characters are so funny, it keeps me entertained, even though the progress isn't as fast as other people think it should be. I don't want to say it's not as fast as it can be, because it doesn't need to be that fast. Like, I'm enjoying it overall. Like, the pacing, I get it. It's stretched out, some of it, but each moment is so fun or interesting. Like, every scene has something that keeps me interested, so I never feel like, you know? The moment that I believe Tashigi starts questioning her concept of justice, this moment, this is that moment. I love this moment and the scene just before it, where Luffy asks her where Crocodile is, and she pauses for a second. Help a pirate find one of the Shichibukai? But then her hand slowly rises and she points Luffy in the right direction, because in that moment that's all she can do. Followed by her saying, "What justice?" I love this kind of character development. Seeing her inner conflict expressed physically, like punching the ground in frustration. But she ends up making the right decision. Not a textbook decision. She actually thinks for herself about the situation at hand. But after watching episode 127, she said it didn't even have much to do about justice. It was mostly like that frustration came from not having another choice. She was too weak to not tell him Crocodile went that way. He was her only hope in that moment. She had to rely on a pirate. So I guess, in a way, yes, she's growing as a person, understanding that, you know, just because they're pirates doesn't mean, you know, they're automatically the bad guy, because the bad guy in this situation was Crocodile. And she could see from that, she could put 2 and 2 together after meeting with Robin and the king. She put 2 and 2 together and realized these are not the pirates I should be fighting right now. But she wasn't strong enough to face Nico, Robin, or Crocodile. So the only thing she could do in that moment was point Luffy in the right direction. And I really, I love this kind of character development. I think it's very well done. Okay. I sometimes got a little peeved when people just assumed I didn't like Tashigi because I like Zoro. Although I did admit that was a small part of it, but it was more like in a funny way, like, oh girl, blah 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 blah. But it wasn't actually serious. The real reason she irritated me was mostly because she's so narrow-minded, or she has been. For example, despite her having met Zoro and seen for her own eyes that he wasn't a bad person during the town where it all began, that remember when they were Logetown, they were at Logetown. So she saw him, she met him, she could see he wasn't a bad person. She even said something like, I can tell you're not a bad person. She made him work, and he did work, and like, but the moment his true identity, I forgot it. Zoro. Oh my god. I can't even Google it, because what if I Google a spoiler? Roronoa Zoro. It is right? I'm right. I don't know why it doesn't sound right. Okay, anyway. So the moment he was revealed to be Zoro, the whatever pirate / bounty hunter, suddenly he's a villain now. I told myself, okay, she's a marine, but still, even when Smoker was able to start thinking for himself about whether or not Luffy and them are actually bad people, and he told her to judge for yourself / use her own sense of justice, she immediately just turned around to her men and said, we're going to hunt down the Straw Hats. All I wanted for her was to show me she isn't just a government dog. I like characters who can pause to reflect and reason for themselves. Up until now, she has not done that. She just, pirates, chase them. You know, she just, you get what I'm saying. I'm glad that seems to be changing. I'm sure that Luffy and his crew are aware that they will always be chased by the Marines, since technically they are breaking the law. Whether the law is right or not is a discussion for another day, you know, about pirates and whatnot. Because just, I mean, what did they do up to now that, you know, that really deserves, how much is Luffy's belly? I mean, his bounty. It's like, what did he really do to deserve that bounty? You know, like, the law here seems to be a bit too black and white. But not considering that, not considering whether the law is right or wrong, just taking into account Luffy and them know they're pirates and they know they'll be chased by Marines. So it's not like we expect anything. Like, the Marines should chase them because they're pirates. But my problem here is both of them at first, were so hell-bent on catching the Straw Hats that they almost totally overlooked what was really happening in that country. The root of evil, Crocodile. The government / Marines have a responsibility to keep people safe. And I understand having to make generalizations in dangerous situations. So when they were in Logetown, pirates, they have a bounty, we need to catch them. So I get that they need to keep the people of the town safe. They need to catch the pirates if they're listed with a bounty. That's their job. But I believe they also have a responsibility, especially those in bigger positions of power, like Smoker and Tashigi. They're not just grunts. They have to think for themselves and adapt to each situation depending on what is going on around them. They don't want to focus so much on trivialities and like textbook things. Like, they can't be, it's either this or that, because that's gonna make them miss the bigger picture. I am glad to see Smoker, who ended up questioning, you know, what he must do, what's the right thing to do, he did it. And now Tashigi as well, starting to widen her vision and think for herself. I'm sorry if I repeated this too many times, and once again, I always apologize if my way of expressing myself doesn't make sense. I do try my best to express myself in a second language, and I think I'm doing an okay job, and that's why I use my hands a lot, so you can, maybe you don't know what I'm saying with my words, but you can feel what I mean. Anyway, so that's it for my notes on these episodes. Anything I didn't include here, I probably said in the reaction part of the video. I wanted to take a moment, however, to share something. A while back, I mentioned in a review that I was spending some time dreaming up a One Piece original character, like my own character. Not me if I were in One Piece, like my own character. Like, Oda isn't Luffy. Luffy is a new character he dreamed up. So that's what I mean when I say OC. Like I said in that video, when I was younger, I used to do that a lot, and even wrote some fan fiction while I was still in high school. I think when I was 13 or something, I did write some fan fiction. And even before that, I always spent time, like, I read a lot of books, and I would dream up my own characters and put them in the story and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I commissioned a drawing of my OC from an artist, Ricky Duron Art. So I will put this is his link tree over there, you can see it, but it will also be in my description of the video. It's his link tree, so it'll take you to like various links. His Instagram, commission prices are here, his Twitter, he's also an artist. This Saturday morning, read latest issue, so you can click on this. It's like an online manga reader, it seems. I haven't had time to take a look at it, but I will soon. There's like a lot of different manga that you can read, it seems. So it looks really cool. So he's an artist for, I'm not sure what exactly, or which one I mean, but he works here. Anyway, so I commissioned a piece from him to kind of bring my character to life. I only asked for a black and white sketch because I'm still thinking about the details of my character. For example, her name, hair color, heritage, origin story, but this is what she looks like. So I'm gonna do this. So this is what she looks like. This is what he drew for me. She's so cute. So a big thank you to Rickety Arts for making my vision of her into a reality. She is part siren from Greek mythology, so not the siren that are mermaids, the siren that are like half bird. So she is part siren, and if I have time in the future, I'd love to write a story or an arc about how Luffy and his crew meet her on a carnival island. So I've already thought up a whole scenario, but I haven't had time to actually write it. But I think it would be so cool. You know how Usopp had his little arc, Nami had her little arc, Sanji had his arc of how they met and then joined the crew. So I have an idea like that, and I would love for her. I don't want it to feel presumptuous of me to like even dream up a character that dares to deserve to be part of the Straw Hat crew. But I mean, isn't that all of our dreams? We all want to be part of it. I know that I would never be able to do something like be a pirate or anything. So I dreamed up this character, and I really want to write a little, just for my own entertainment, and just write the story about how she ends up joining the crew. If that was possible, oh my god. Okay, I considered this version too, but I prefer the above because the below version this is too cute for me. Like, it's so cute, I love it, but it's too cute. Also, there's another specific reason why I like because she's just part siren, so she's influenced obviously by those genes, if I can put it that way. So like these feathers on her body, wings. So it was either wings on her back or like small wings here. But this looks really cute and I love it, but I prefer the idea of wings on her back. I think she's really well drawn. I love her nails. I love her hair down her back. I'm so excited. I think Ricardo did a really great job. So if you want to commission him to draw your OC, or maybe even you as a One Piece character, I would recommend him definitely. I didn't give him any, like, for the clothes, for example, I didn't, how do we say, give him anything to go off of. So he said what he did was he just channeled his inner Oda style and he came up with these clothes. So yeah, I think he did a really great job. And if anyone does end up commissioning him, please tweet me your pictures. I would love to see whether you asked him to draw your OC or maybe you as a One Piece character or whatever, even if it has nothing to do with One Piece. If you commission him for something, please tweet me the picture. I would love to feature it in a video. And yeah, I think that's all I have written. I consider this version below, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yes. And then the next video should have episode 124 to 126. And the video after that will be 127 and 128 together. And then after that, 129 and 130. But maybe if I can, I'll do 127 to 130 together. But then you have to wait longer for that video. So I don't know. I'll see when I get there. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you everyone so much once again for watching anime with me. I love it. I honestly can't think of anything I'd rather do. I really love what I do and I really appreciate you all for being here and for supporting me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.